Weddings are supposed to be days of joy, elegance, and memorable celebration. For Daniel Briggs, the younger brother of the groom, it was also supposed to be the perfect moment to show off his sense of humor. Daniel had always been the kind of person who believed laughter made every event better. He was the family prankster, known for slipping whoopee cushions under chairs and making balloon animals at birthday parties long after everyone else had outgrown them. So when his brother announced that he wanted Daniel to give a toast at the wedding reception, Daniel saw an opportunity. He could make the speech funny, lighthearted, and unforgettable. But he wanted more than just jokes. He wanted a visual gag that everyone would talk about for years. That was when he remembered the classic internet trick, dropping Mentos candies into a bottle of soda. In his mind, it would be simple. He would raise a soda bottle, say a few heartfelt words, toss in a couple of candies, and watch the fizz rise in a funny little fountain. People would laugh, cheer, and clap. It would be silly, but harmless. At least that was what he thought. On the evening of the wedding, the reception hall sparkled with string lights, flowers, and the soft music of a live band. Guests sat at round tables draped with white tablecloths, sipping champagne and chatting happily. The bride and groom beamed at the head table, their smiles glowing with love. When the time came for speeches, the best man spoke first with charm and wit. Then it was Daniel's turn. He stood nervously, clutching a microphone in one hand and a sealed 2-liter bottle of soda in the other. Some guests gave him curious looks. Why was he holding a soda bottle instead of a glass of champagne? Daniel cleared his throat. Ladies and gentlemen, I am not much of a speechwriter, but I wanted to make my brother's wedding toast special. Today we celebrate love, laughter, and a future filled with bubbles of happiness. And speaking of bubbles, he grinned and held up the soda bottle. The room chuckled lightly, unsure of what was about to happen. Daniel unscrewed the cap and pulled a roll of Mentos from his pocket. To my brother and his new wife, he declared proudly, "May your marriage always overflow with joy." With dramatic flair, he dropped several candies into the soda. What happened next was far beyond what he had imagined. The reaction was instant and violent. The soda erupted like a geyser, shooting a foamy fountain straight into the air. But instead of a small, amusing spray, the pressure sent a massive column of soda soaring toward the ceiling. The liquid splashed down onto the head table, drenching the bride's white gown and the groom's tuxedo. Guests screamed and scrambled as the sticky spray rained across the room. Tablecloths turned brown, plates of food were ruined, and expensive flower arrangements wilted under the sugary downpour. Daniel froze, his mouth open in shock. This was not a harmless joke. This was chaos. The bride gasped as soda dripped from her veil, staining it permanently. The groom wiped his eyes and looked at his younger brother in disbelief. "What did you do?" he shouted, though his voice was half drowned out by laughter and shrieks from the audience. Children squealed with glee, clapping at the unexpected fountain. Elderly relatives muttered in disapproval, trying to dab their clothes with napkins. The band stopped playing and stared in stunned silence. Daniel grabbed a handful of napkins and ran to the head table. "I am so sorry," he cried. But the tiny napkins did nothing against the sticky flood spreading across the table. The reception staff rushed in with towels and buckets. A few guests tried to help, but most simply stood back, laughing at the ridiculous disaster. Cameras flashed as people recorded the scene. Within minutes, the entire room smelled like caramelized sugar and carbonation. The bride's eyes filled with tears. "My dress," she whispered, looking down at the sticky fabric. The groom put an arm around her shoulders, glaring at Daniel. "You thought this was funny?" Daniel stammered. "It was supposed to be just a little fountain, not this." By the time the mess was under control, half the reception hall was damp and stained. The speeches were canceled, the dance floor was slippery, and the bride had to change into a spare outfit. The joyous atmosphere had turned chaotic. Later that night, videos of the disaster began appearing online. The title "Wedding Soda Explosion" spread quickly, and within hours, millions of people had seen Daniel's failed prank. Some viewers laughed until tears rolled down their cheeks. Others called him irresponsible and careless. Daniel became infamous as the guy who ruined a wedding with Mentos. In the days that followed, Daniel tried to apologize repeatedly to his brother and his new sister-in-law. He offered to pay for cleaning bills, and even for part of the ruined dress. "I just wanted to make people laugh," he explained. "I never meant to cause so much trouble." His brother sighed. "Daniel, laughter is good, but timing matters. A wedding toast is supposed to be about love and respect, not explosions. Daniel nodded, ashamed. He realized that some moments called for sincerity, not pranks. Months later, the family could finally laugh about it. At gatherings, relatives teased Daniel by handing him soda cans and asking if he wanted to give another toast. The bride admitted that the story, though frustrating at the time, had become one of the most unforgettable memories of her wedding. And Daniel, though embarrassed, learned his lesson. Comedy had its place. But sometimes the best toast was simply raising a glass of champagne and saying, "To love."